Still front and center on that tragedy is what to do to prevent another mass shooting from happening again. Last week, families of the Uvalde victims and Buffalo massacres testified before Congress, leading to the House passing gun reform legislation.
Yeah, but the battle's far from over. This legislation still needs to pass the Senate. 3 News reporter Jalissa Garza joins us live once again with what one South Texas political science professor has to say has to happen to pass meaningful legislation. Jalissa.
Well, that gun reform legislation passed by the House is called the Protecting Our Kids Act. There's a lot to it, like raising the minimum age to 21 years old and banning large capacity magazines. I spoke with Texas A&M University Kingsville political science professor Travis Braidwood on what we could see happen next. In the wake of recent mass shootings across the country, the topic of gun reform is once again at the forefront.
Polling has consistently, over decades now, shown that the vast majority of Americans want some form of gun control, but it never happens.
The House of Representatives passing the Protecting Our Kids Act, a piece of legislation that would tighten gun laws.
This is probably the most significant approach towards gun control regulation in a long time.
Braidwood says it's not surprising that the House passed this legislation, but where things get tricky is the Senate.
The House version is so radically different from the Senate version that the House basically is going to have to take whatever the Senate puts out.
But it's still in the very early stages.
This is the first time that we actually have, it seems to be, enough votes to prevent a filibuster. You need at least 60 to get that vote of cloture.
Although the Senate may be trickier for legislation to pass through, Braidwood believes some sort of change will come out of it all.
I wouldn't expect a lot, right? You might get the red flag laws. You might get some sort of regulation on age restrictions for people that have things like juvenile records. I wouldn't expect to see a whole lot. You're probably going to see maybe a handful of changes that have popular support amongst both parties and including amongst gun owners.
Keep in mind there is a July 4th recess for Congress, and Braidwood predicts this could pass before then. The president has said if legislation passes that has bipartisan support, put anything on his desk and he will sign it. Coming up in the next half hour, we'll hear more from Braidwood on how this could impact elections this November.